act of climbing trees is often closely related to our idea of childhood. It evokes a certain sense of innocence and carefree nature that children often possess. That said, for us as individuals who care for and interact with children, climbing trees can often push our limits to a place where we feel uncomfortable, and ultimately we become worried for the child's safety. Let's take some time to think about our own experiences of climbing trees. Were you given the chance to climb trees as a child? Why or why not? Picture this. You're with 4 or 5 children under a tree. You're sitting in the shade, enjoying the cool grass, the breeze within the shade, and very naturally, the children, one by one, begin to climb the tree. You see that the tree is quite low to the ground and pretty sturdy, and so you allow them to climb. As the children begin to climb, you see that some are able to climb higher than others, and each of them are finding their own way to interact with this tree. About 4 or 5 minutes go by of the children trying to figure out how they want to climb and interact with this tree. One child in particular gets pretty high up the tree, and you notice yourself beginning to become a little worried, and you feel like your limit of what is safe and unsafe is being tested. What would you do in this situation? How would you address the feelings that you're experiencing? How would you communicate and express how you're feeling to the child who is climbing? When we talk about limits, it's important to recognize the difference in where our limits lie compared to others. When we think of children, it sometimes seems like they have no limits and they just go on and do whatever they want without considering the consequences. Often, this attitude and posture in going about things leads them to get hurt, they cry, and they learn a very difficult lesson. Although that is one way to understand and gain experience, there are other ways that we can engage with our limits without testing them to the point that we get injured. In this situation, I very calmly said to the child that, I see that you're quite high up on the tree. You've been very focused in your climbing and now you've gotten up that high. The child then said to me, I can see everything up here. I'm so close to the leaves. In the child saying these things, this is their way of expressing to me their sense of achievement and also curiosity in getting higher. My role as the adult and the individual who these children are in the care of is to show the child that I value what they're doing, but also to express to them my personal limits. And so I said to the child, wow, it must be very exciting that you can see so close to those trees and that you can see so far. I'm happy that you're able to feel safe to get up that high. But I want to ask you what your plan is in getting down. Because if you get too high up, then I won't be able to help you if you need help. So it's important for me to know that you have a plan so that I know that you're safe. This way, I'm communicating to the child that I value what they're doing, but at the same time, I want them to stay safe. But more importantly, that I'm here to support them to engage with this tree in the ways that they want to, instead of stifling what they want to do. The child then says, oh, if I go down the same way that I came up, I should be able to come back down. But I'll make sure not to go too high so that if I do need help, I can tell you. Fast forward a few minutes later, the child in fact did go a little too high for their own comfort zone. They pushed themselves to their own limits. And this child then said, Freeman, I need your help. I don't know how to get back down. I then said to the child, it's great that you recognize you went a little too high for yourself and that you do need help. It's important that you recognize what is safe and what you feel comfortable with, because that way you're able to protect yourself and also protect the other children around you. As we support children to engage with this idea of limits, as we share our own limits with them, then we're able to open up space where we can dialogue together to understand how we can support one another and support each other's intentions with how we want to engage with the world. This allows us to then become more confident in our own abilities, as well as our ability to assess risk and assess how we are feeling. When children are able to do this, they develop a solid understanding of who they are, what their abilities are, and how far they're able to push themselves while staying within the limits of what is safe and what is appropriate. This way, children can then take their confidence and their understanding to go into the world to watch, think, be.